They're on the 6th floor. But Wachter just smiles and says, oh, we don't gotta worry about that. We don't gotta worry about that at all. Will's there. He is there. Himothy, Will Belfort, my fucking guy. Wistoria, Wand and Sword. A series that I have been avoiding for the longest time. Not for a bad reason, I just wanted the episodes to stack. I love binging shows, but I've seen it get gassed a bit much. It's also written by Umori Fujino, the creator of Danmachi, one of my favorite series of all time, so I knew it was gonna be fucking gas. Also, I'm gonna do this video a bit different, but enough of that. Let's just start this shit. So we're gonna start from the beginning. In a magical academy, it is obvious that the most valued thing there would be the students' talent for magic. But that raises the question, what if someone got into the academy with no magic whatsoever? Would there be a way for them to climb up the ranks and advance through grades at the academy? The answer is yes. And that way is to slay monsters in a dungeon. Very original, Omari. So now we learn that our main character is a boy named Will, someone who has no aptitude for magic. Will from the jump looks like a pretty chill dude. He looks like he studies a lot and just overall tries hard. But the first scene of the actual story begins and a professor named Edward Surfins is giving a lecture in class about how sulfur is a great catalyst for flame magic. So he wants someone to give a demonstration. So he calls Will. Knowing damn well Will can't use magic, Will even says in his mind, "This again?" Meaning that this isn't the first instance of this professor doing this to Will. But Will can't refuse, so he goes up there. Will is trying his best to start these flames, and this Severus Snape wannabe is all on Will, saying how easy it should be to make fire in a practical exercise, because these are the best catalysts. So Will says the incantation and nothing happens. Then the whole class laughs at my boy. Everyone except Colette, that's baby girl. I will tell you more about her later. So then Wanna Snape just gets on Will's ass. Who would ever think that a student who is in our program of learning magic would be completely inept in the very thing that our school teaches, as to be expected of the learner, completely irredeemable, baka. Also learner, by the way, means that he is an honor student, but of course not in magic, but written tests. So he is a smart dude. But out of nowhere we just get a huge blast of fire after an incantation. The one who casted this spell was none other than Theon Ulster. So the professor tells him to refrain from doing such a thing in class without permission, but Theon is just like, hey, my boy Will was having trouble, and it looked like he needed a helping hand, so I did it for him. But nah, he's just a showboating asshole, and he literally smirked before doing the spell. Then Professor Surfins goes on talking about how magic reigns supreme in this world. He says, magic is authority, magic power is strength, and mages are heroes. And of course, in a magic academy, magic ability is what's valued the most. And that people who have no ability to use magic and only studied have no business here and should leave the academy at once. You can go on about this in a different direction. Sure, you can believe a normal person with no talent for magic shouldn't be there. That's very reasonable. But as a professor, bro, you do not really have to go out of your way to embarrass him constantly. After this, Theon catches Will in the hall with two of his lackeys, right, and tells Will that he knows he's been hitting the dungeons again for credits by killing small fry monsters, and he should be ashamed, just absolutely knocking over his hustle. But we see someone run to my boy's rescue, best girl Colette. She told all of the guys to leave Will alone. Theon tries to be all friendly with her and says, hey, you're a real honor student, so why are you trying to defend Will? But she goes to Theon like, hey, I know my dog may not have magic powers. I do find it hard to believe because he looks like Harry Potter, but really, he is nice as hell, so don't talk about him. But Theon says being nice alone won't make someone a great mage, and that being one of the Supreme Five Wands is only a pipe dream. Once again, it's understandable, but they could go about it a different way though. Colette then tells Will to not let those guys and even the professor bother him, but he isn't completely oblivious. He knows that what he's doing isn't completely plausible. And my dog spits game to her a little bit, calling her cute, making her blush and shit. But we learn a bit more about the 5 strongest mages in the Magia Wind. It was said that mankind was confined in darkness with no knowledge of the sky, and it's that the world was under threat from invaders from the heavens. 5 mages rose against them. They repelled them and cast a seal on the sky, bringing peace to the world, that being the Magia Wind, aka the Supreme Five Wands. The title is now passed down to the mages of the present day. Will has a childhood friend named Elfaria, who he made a promise with to make it to the top of the towers together one day. But that promise evaporated because Elfaria was a true prodigy. She became the youngest to ever become a Supreme Wand, While Will is still in school, struggling to get credits. It has to be tough for him. He hasn't given up though and wants to still meet her up there someday. This is where we meet Professor Wagner. I'm sorry for saying it like that. You can tell that he is nice to Will, even though he seems a bit much at first. He lets Will know that he is starting to get low on credits, so instead of trying to become a supreme wand, he should focus on graduating first. And that's reasonable, once again. But he went at it at a better way than the other people. He needs written credits, hands-on credit, and practical credits. He can't do practical, of course, because he has no magic. Going to the dungeon is a huge thing for him. His probability of graduating on dungeons alone is pretty slim, but Wagner tells Will that a Baskerville, a monster worth 4 credits, is on the 6th floor, and that's exactly what Will needs. Theon is listening in on their conversation though, and decides to defeat the basilisk to sabotage Will. Will enters the dungeon, and my boy is dripped the fuck out. I don't know if the glass is being gone or what. He has a different aura about him now. He has a familiar named Kiki, who I'm assuming helps him find the monsters he needs for credits in the dungeon with her sense of smell. Theon, though, and his entourage are in the dungeon and are now talking shit about Will, saying how they don't need incompetent baboons at their academy. One guy raises the objection though, should we really be on this floor by ourselves, Theon? So Theon looks at him and basically says, I'm pussy? But it was pretty obvious that Theon was elite, so that's why these guys follow him. He's giving his groupies instructions when all of a sudden, wha-bam, one of his friends get absolutely decked by a big monster. This leaves Theon and his other friends shocked. He screams loudly, and Will, being in the dungeon as well, notices this. The monster is called a Sentinel, and it is worth 10 credits, so that should tell you exactly how strong this big bitch is. It's a 5 over. That's how you classify very strong monsters in this universe. Then Will sees someone on the ground trying to fight the Sentinel. Theon is scared shitless. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. He keeps blasting fireballs at it to no avail. Will can see clear as day that Theon stands no chance against this monster, right? And he will die if he doesn't step in. And Will actually had a great realization at this moment in time. He first says that he has no choice but to help, and then he questions, do I really have to help him? Because Theon bullies him constantly, bro. Pretty much every day. I'm not saying that this means he deserves to die, but Will has no obligation to help someone who bullies him all day, every day, day in and day out. When he is thinking this, Will gets a flashback to his childhood friend Elfie. It showed her telling him that he is kind and he is more courageous than anyone else. And she gave Will these goggles, which look hard as hell, by the way. I can't even explain why. So my boy rushes in with his sword and saves Theon as soon as he is about to be killed. You know, he is the MC. He had to wait for his dramatic moment. We cut back to Snape after this though, and he is telling Professor Wagner that Theon and his friends went to the dungeon without permission, and that he needs to send his familiar to locate them so that they can be rescued, right? Wagner then raises the question, what floor are they on? Then Snape says, they're on the 6th floor. But Wagner just smiles and says, oh, we don't gotta worry about that. We don't gotta worry about that at all. Will's there. He is there. Timothy, Will Belfort, my fucking guy. Now we are seeing Will just completely keep up with this top level monster in both strength and in speed. Theon even asks, yo, what the fuck is going on here? There is no way that this is the same dude I was bullying all the time. He could have finished me 5 ever ago. But Surfins then asks Wagner, what the hell is he talking about? And Wagner tells him, hey, Will is basically an anomaly, dog. He may not be able to use magic, but he has monster strength you will never see in mages. He has robustness that is only seen in dwarves, and he has the ability to adjust to opponents' fighting patterns only after seeing them once. In this world of magic, he is the one and only warrior, and his sword slashes surpass even lightning. This man Will is cold as hell. I know the fight scene lasted a minute, but he made light work of this monster pretty much, even though it was a high level. Then Snape's hating ass gets heated and says, a boy who cannot use magic is surpassing magic itself? I cannot allow this to happen. Oh, what do you mean? You would think a teacher would be happy for his students, but nah. This is the beginning of Will's story though. I absolutely fell for this series from this episode. Will is a goat. I love Colette, and Professor Wagner is my guy. I may do a full series review. Just let me know how you guys like this. Sub if you did enjoy this, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.